The Nature Photo Guys podcast is brought to you by our friends at the Camera Store, located in Calgary, Alberta, Canada.
It's our go-to spot for everything photography and video. Whether you're just starting out or you're a seasoned pro, the Camera Store has what you need.
And the best part, they ship right across Canada with free shipping on most orders over $99.
The Camera Store is a legendary name in photography, so make sure to check them out today at camerastore.com.
Welcome to the Nature Photo Guys podcast,
where we talk about nature photography, from gear to our philosophies and everything in between.
So grab a cup of coffee, sit back and relax.
You're listening to Joe Desjardins
and Chris Gibbs, the Nature Photo Guys.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Nature Photo Guys podcast.
Today's guest is a passionate photographer whose journey is rooted in resilience, gratitude, and the healing power of nature. From the breathtaking landscapes of the Southeast Rockies in British Columbia, her work captures more than just scenery. It reflects emotion, connection, and the human experience. After 4 years of dialysis and declining health, her perspective shifted profoundly. She discovered a deeper meaning in the mountains, forests, and meadows around her, and in the quiet moments that invite mindfulness, curiosity, and compassion. That transformation continues to shape both her art and the way she tells stories through her lens. But she doesn't stop at creating. She gives back, mentoring aspiring photographers and helping others find their voice through visual storytelling. Please welcome to the show, Tracey Halladay.
Hello, hello. Hi, Tracey.
Hi, Tracey.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, good. I hear you're in the middle of a some sort of a storm, and we might actually lose you. So everybody, this may be a really short podcast.
Let me get my plugs in now.
Yeah, exactly. So, well, we're happy to have you on, Tracey. It's been a while. We did see you at Light Chasers last year.
Yeah.
Yes. And we talked to you. Well, yes, of course. But I mean, her presentation last year.
Yes.
And it's been like Chris said, a long time in the making.
Yeah,
about a year.
Been like a year in the making of trying to get you
a year
on
and a
here,
little bit. So it's actually working out. So today, just like any other podcast, we're going to start out, Tracey, with the good old standby. Tell us a little bit about yourself, how you got into photography, and then we'll do a deep dive into your story after that. So on you.
One.
No pressure.
So how did I get into photography? We'll start with that. My dad was always taking photos. Mm-hmm. And I had a little 110 camera when I was younger.
Okay.
Right?
Nice.
Yeah. And then when I graduated, I got a 35 millimeter.
Nice.
And I still have that camera.
Oh, wow. Cool.
Yeah, it has a roll of black and white film in it right now that I'm slowly working through, doing a double exposure roll. So I've rolled it back and shooting through again.
Oh, cool.
Oh,
yeah.
That's
yeah.
awesome.
And
very
when
cool.
it's completed, I get to go develop it with the person who gave it to me. So I'm kind of stoked about that because
nice.
Who doesn't?
That's a cool
little
project for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just to touch on that. It's weird though, because if you haven't shot film for years and you shoot it and you press the button and it's like, oh, like there's nothing there to look at, right?
You just keep your fingers crossed.
It forces you to slow down. That's for sure.
Yeah. No, I hear you.
Yeah. So then I just started taking more photos, I guess, and then eventually went to the SLR and then a DSLR and gradually kept hoarding gear until I'm at the position where I am now with more than I know what to do with sometimes.
Oh, gas, the gear acquisition syndrome, which we're all guilty of for sure.
Yeah.
So what are you currently shooting anyways, Tracey? Like what, are we going to be friends? So you got to be careful what you say here.
What brand?
What brand do you shoot?
Uh-oh.
I shoot Nikon.
And the
my
interview's
goodness.
over.
Yeah. A D850. And
nice.
Nice.
Yeah.
my preferred lens right now is a Sigma Sport 60 to 600. So it's a
Nice.
heavy
you do have that.
combination.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's heavy, but it's usually on there most of the time because I can accomplish so much with that spread.
Yeah, like Chris, weren't you looking
Yeah.
at that lens for video?
I was actually, yeah. So a lot of cinematographers that we know, when they can't rent the 50 to 1000 cinema Canon lens, which is like 85,000 US to buy,
Yeah.
they actually use that lens, the 60 to 600, for video because it does give you that massive range, right? And a lot of people on
Yeah.
a lot of people on safaris as well use that
Oh.
lens. Yeah, just specifically for that exact range. But I do
Yeah.
know that it is a Sigma Sport, right? So it is quite heavy, I guess.
So the combined weight between the body and the lens is just over 9 pounds.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
She's getting there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I also use it to exercise.
Yeah,
Right.
no kidding. Right?
No kidding.
And do curls.
On the couch, prancing.
So are you on a monopod a lot of the time with that?
I shoot handheld probably 95% of the time. I've just got my stance figured out, and I've learned that if there is anything you can brace yourself against,
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
whether turn the vehicle off, door frame, tree, power pole, stump, whatever.
Yeah, you bet.
It'll help just that little bit. But I've gotten pretty good at like just figuring out my settings so that it's quick and things are clear.
Yeah,
Very cool.
absolutely.
Yeah.
No, that's a wicked setup. The 850 is an amazing, I was going to say amazing camera.
Was?
That's
Whoa,
a great
did you
setup,
say
Tracy.
I'm going to keep that in, Joe.
I really got to watch what I say. So
we know a bunch of people that have that camera.
Oh,
and they
yeah,
love that
for
camera,
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome. So we joke, but yeah, no, that's
the
good.
D800, the 850, like all that full frame stuff's just amazing. I mean, we got so many Nikon friends.
I'd love to go mirrorless, but I need to make a lot more money, and in order to be able to justify that. So,
well, mirrorless certainly has its advantages, of course, but with the system you have now is incredible. I mean, when my last DSLR was the 1DX, and I shot that thing for like 8 or 9 years, and the only reason why I really went to mirrorless was, maybe for the like autofocus tracking and a few other perks. Other than that, I'd still be shooting it. So
for sure. Yeah.
What you've got there lasts you another 10 years easy. I mean, you can't tell me that you can tell the difference between something shot on a Z8 and your 850 as far as image quality goes. Now, people are going to just kill me on this one. Hang on. What I'm saying though is those two cameras and those two images are both very saleable images.
yes.
You look at them online, you look at them on your phone, everything else, nobody's going to be able to tell whether you're shot mirrorless or DSLR. So
even if you print them and put them side by side from the same photographer, I think you would be very hard pressed to tell the difference between the two, honestly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Right?
Yeah. No,
I mean, the mirrorless gives you more like different conveniences, right, than the DSLR. But other than that, I mean, you're still going to get great images out of both. So
yeah.
For sure. 100%.
And I think part of it is that I guess in a sense, the longer that I spend learning this craft and working with, in a sense, something that doesn't do all the work for you, if that makes sense, right? Then it gives me a chance to hone all those other skills. Like by the time I can get a mirrorless, I'll just be walking around with the one arm because this muscle is going to be huge from carrying the other one. And it'll just be a matter of, being able to, like, now I've been working on panning birds in flight this past year. And that's hard. That's really hard. So if I can get that skill kind of down pat before you have something that tracks the eye for you.
Sure.
Oh yeah, you're already there for sure.
Well, and when we first went to mirrorless, it was like it felt like we were cheating sometimes, right? When it was like locked on the eye constantly, and it definitely adds a you can focus on other things when that's the case. But you're right, definitely for tracking birds in flight at the moment is
Oh,
probably a little fun.
yeah. Yeah.
It's a great way of putting it, though. Learning getting your skill set in place.
Yeah.
Because when you have a solid foundation like that, and then you go to mirrorless, you're done.
Yeah.
Like you're not going to have a problem panning and tracking and keeping them in the right frame for composition and everything else, because you're already there.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
that's a
And
great way of looking at it.
in all honesty, too, like I haven't been doing this that long.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Like,
So when did you start?
so I got my first DSLR in 2018.
Oh,
Oh,
wow.
crazy. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
So before that, it was like I had a Nikon P510 or something that did the SLR zoom in and out.
Oh, okay.
Oh, the bridge
Um,
cameras. Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, like before that, but I didn't get a DSLR set up until 2018.
Oh,
So
crazy.
yeah,
Well, you
it's
moved
been like
fast.
it's been not a learning curve. It's been like up the mountain and
Right.
Oh,
Literally.
you bet.
Yeah.
yeah,
You
yeah.
bet.
Yeah.
No, that's
Amazing.
great. Wow, that's amazing. If you've only been doing it for 7 years, there, Tracy. So
Yeah, your images
awesome
are
work.
amazing for
Yeah.
that short of time. That's for sure.
Yeah,
So,
Chris has been
awesome.
trying for 20 plus years. So
Yeah, I'm still trying. I tell
he's
ya.
still trying. He's good at video. I'll give you that.
Oh, thanks.
But yeah, he's okay.
Thanks, Joe.
Yeah, it all comes eventually.
Yeah.
Don't give up, Chris.
Okay, thanks, Tracy.
Oh, awesome. I'm glad somebody else said it other than me. That's awesome.
Wow.
So, excuse me. Okay, so that's how you got into photography. So, tell us a little bit about like what you're doing now with photography, and maybe a little bit of your backstory from about 5 years ago.
Okay.
What we obviously we know the story. We've done a deep dive. We've bios, saw you present, everything else. So yeah, why don't we let the audience know a little bit more about you and
Okay.
your past 4 to 5 years.
Cue the tears. No,
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm okay for now. So in 2014, I was diagnosed suddenly with kidney failure.
Mhm.
And by suddenly, I mean I had a call at 7:30 on a Monday morning. I'd done some blood work, and they said, "We need to see you. Be here at 9." So I
Wow.
went down to the clinic, and they said, "You're in kidney failure," and I kind of went, "What?" And I left that day and had surgery that night to start
oh, wow.
dialysis. Yeah.
Wow.
And probably the only reason that I didn't completely lose it is because my mom had kidney failure, but we were always told it was non-hereditary. And we had been checked as teens and young adults, but
Mhm.
as you get older, you figure, well, everything's okay. So did that. I did dialysis for 4 years. And at the end of 2018, I was not doing well at all. Um, Dialysis wasn't working so great. They were talking about switching me back to hemodialysis, which I would have had to go drive and sit like in a center and do it there. And basically, I was still young, and it's like this is not what I want. This
Mhm.
isn't the life that I've chosen. It sucks.
Yeah.
So I was doing home dialysis, but kind of the defining moment, I went for a walk with a friend in September of 2018, and 1.2 kilometers took us almost an hour. And it was because my body was so full of toxins, I couldn't breathe. I like no stamina whatsoever. She carried my gear. And I went home and started making plans because I just kind of said to myself, I'm gonna effing die.
Mhm.
And my kids were older, but I had grandkids and everything like that. And I just kind of started trying to quietly get everything all prepped because I figured this is gonna come pretty soon. And then literally 4 years to the day, that I was told I was in kidney failure, I got a call that they had a deceased donor kidney for me.
Wow.
Wow.
So I was asked if I wanted to accept it. I was told it was a high risk kidney, which basically probably meant drug overdose. And I thought, you know what? There's medications that can take care of those risks, but nothing is going to save me right now other than a kidney. So I took it. And I flew to Vancouver, which is like literally across the province from me. I had to live in Vancouver for 2.5 months while I was recovering and making sure everything is okay. And I realized as I woke up from my surgery that I saw everything completely different. New eyes, right?
Wow.
For
Okay.
sure.
Yeah.
Appreciating what was around me, and just light was different, colors were different. Like it's hard to explain. I guess it's not hard to explain. I can explain it, but it's hard to understand unless you've been through a similar experience where you come so close to closing that final door, right?
It was like a new lease
Wow.
on life. And
It was.
yeah. And
Yeah.
was it almost like instant that you started seeing things differently?
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
was,
I
eh?
woke up 2 days after, and I got up at 5 o'clock in the morning, and I sat on the little bench beside my window, and it was fall. There was like Vancouver, the trees in Vancouver are all like great big maples and elms and oak and stuff like that. So it was just color everywhere outside the window, and just sat there and watched it and cried because I
Jeez.
was just so happy to be alive. And it didn't matter what happened other than right then. Like I just wanted to experience it all and not well, I wouldn't say mess up. I didn't mess up on my first time through, but to be able to do some of the things that I put off doing because I thought I'd have time.
And
Life's too
so,
short. Yeah.
how did the recovery go? So you were there 2.5 months,
Yeah.
and when you got home, were you
Um,
able to start doing things?
I was before I got home. I had some bumps. My incision burst, which basically I had to go every single day. And I don't know if you want to leave this part in. They would pack it full of salt tape
Yep.
because the salt absorbs the moisture. So when we started, it was 15 feet
Oh,
that was
geez.
packed inside my my incision, and it heals from the inside out. So they
That's
just
right.
kept
Yeah.
every couple of days it would be less, and when we got down to in the inches, like oh, it's only 9 inches today, it was like okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
Jeez.
So
So was that like the biggest? How do I say this? The
hurdle.
the biggest hurdle getting from the hospital then after leaving the hospital, or
That was the biggest issue when I was in Vancouver would have been,
in
because I
Vancouver,
was still I was still in Vancouver at that point, and then I came home just before Christmas, and then I had to go back and forth for another 4 months.
Oh wow. Okay.
Every few weeks just to make sure that everything was okay. And then I was feeling like I needed to do everything, that I needed to, like, I would come home or be driving home and it's like, I need to go here. What if I don't get a chance to go here? I need to go here.
Yeah.
And I realized partway through my recovery that I was starting to put pressure on myself to get things done. But I was panicked because what if something happened and I couldn't? And
I see. Okay.
it wasn't great at times for my marriage. It wasn't great for my own mental headspace because I was trying to do all these different things and more worried about me doing this than anything else. Like I can look back at that now and say it at the time I had no idea. I was being selfish because I didn't know how long I was going to have.
Wow.
And so as time kept going on, and I ended up injuring first one leg and then the other. And I couldn't get out and walk. I couldn't go the places that I wanted to unless I was driving. So it was like no more hiking, right? And so from there, things got pretty dark. Like, well, not pretty dark, very dark. Like not to the point of thinking about harming myself or anything, but just depression where you're crying because you can't go out and do what you want to do. And you can't go places that you want to go, and you're looking at other people doing this, and it's crushing because I was capable of doing it, and then it was kind of like the rug was pulled out again.
How long did it take for you to recover from your legs? You said you injured them. Was that part of, like, did the new kidney contribute to that as far as like weakness or?
No,
like,
apparently it was menopause.
Oh, jeez.
So something to
Okay.
any women listening to this, talk to
Yeah.
your doctor about collagen and menopause and tendons.
Oh, okay.
I've since damaged 2 more. I had 4 tendon injuries in 3 years.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So I was checking grizzly bear rub trees, and we had to hike into the areas the bears would rub on barbed wire, and they'd leave their fur. So then you collect the fur and you put it in envelopes for DNA testing. And it was straight up and straight down 2.5 kilometers. And I injured my meniscus in the back of my left knee, and then snapped it eventually. And then once that was healed, I snapped 2 tendons in my right ankle, which are still snapped. And so it took me from being able to, maybe a slow hiker, but get where I wanted to hobbling around, and your whole rest of your body compensates when you're limping and
You bet.
sideways.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And how are you now?
Well, I fell down my back stairs a month ago.
Oh my goodness.
And badly sprained my left ankle, which is my good ankle. So it's still not healed. So this would have been the first summer in 4 years going into it uninjured, and I'm injured again. So I had a big cry and a pity party, and I'm flying into backcountry in Michelle Lakes in August for a heli hiking trip.
Nice.
So that's the goal, is to just not do anything else and try and at least be able to walk a bit.
Okay,
Absolutely.
Tracey, we want you sitting at your desk editing photos until August. Okay, everybody can bring you food, and water and drinks, but it's all photography. You don't want to hurt yourself before August. So,
well, I do have a kayak that I couldn't use last year because I tore my rotator cuff when I went.
Tracey!
Oh my goodness!
Oh my god!
Yeah, I know. Wow. So maybe this year I can kayak. So.
Oh, geez.
But there's always a positive, though, isn't there?
There has to be, because if there isn't a positive, then you just stay wallowing in that pit. Now I don't want to wallow in that pit.
For sure.
Good for you.
I just want to be able to do something, right?
Well, it looks like you're doing a whole lot there, Tracey. I mean, we've looked at your website. We see what's available, and we're going to talk about all that too. But I'm just curious, what is the goal of this heli hike? Is it just hiking? Are you in for wildlife? Is it landscape? Or is it like more of an opportunity or opportunist type photography trip?
So I'm not really sure about that one. I had just seen, when it was advertised, I saw like that beautiful light turquoise blue water.
Sure. Yeah.
And it's 2 lakes. It looks like almost in the middle of a moraine or something, right?
Oh, okay.
And so basically you leave Abraham Lake and you fly north and you land. What my goal is there's like some gentle ridges around there. I just want to be able to get up above the lakes
Sure.
and see what I can see. I'm hoping, as far as wildlife goes, that there's no grizzlies, because they'll get me. I am way too slow for that right now. But I can't hike all the way up into these areas. So I've found that if I can helicopter in, or Fernie has a chairlift that you can get to the top of the mountain, things like that, that I want to take advantage of that while I can, to be able to get in. Yeah. And then I go to Assiniboine again in September.
Oh, nice. I've never been. Wow.
771 phone calls and 5 hours to get through.
Holy crow.
What?
Yep. Yeah. They don't do reservations by online. Like, you know how with O'Hara you get thrown in the queue?
Yeah.
Which I'm actually going to O'Hara again this year too. Very lucky there.
Nice.
But Assiniboine, you have to call. And you call, and it starts saying something to you, and you know, if it starts saying that message after a while, that you're not getting through. So you hang up and you call again, hang up and call again. And after 5 hours, when I got through, it was a different message. And I almost, you get so used to doing this and hanging up. I almost did that again. So I got through. I then had to sit on hold for over an hour, because there's 25 positions in the queue. I was probably number 25.
Jeez.
Wow.
Yeah.
Sounds like
and
concert tickets from the 80s.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. You are
remember
trying to
those
get your
days.
song played on the radio, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, so I got through. So I'm going in for 5 nights, I think I have there, with some other women.
Cool.
So yeah.
Wow.
Nice. Wow.
And then O'Hara for my kidneyversary. So
kidneyversary. Love
awesome.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, there's positives, right?
Yep.
So there
You've
go.
been there before, Tracey? Yeah.
To O'Hara?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm one of those few people that I think I've been 6 times now.
Nice.
Oh, wow.
So extremely lucky.
Yeah.
I'm camping for 2 nights. So, and it has rained or snowed on me every single time I've gone there. So,
of course. Are you going in the fall for the larches, or?
It'll be October 2nd that I go in. But I've been there in July, and it's like poured to the point where 7 o'clock you're in your tent, because you can't stay. There's no room in the cook shelters, right?
Sure.
And last year I took my oldest granddaughter, and we had 3 nights camping, and it snowed. And when we woke up in the morning, we were laying in the tent, I could hear somebody say, "Oh my gosh, look at the spiders." So I start looking around, and the whole top of the tent under the fly is daddy long legs.
Oh,
wow. Just for the heat, right? And then Savannah, my granddaughter, she's like, "Oh, there's some in here too," because she didn't close her zipper all the way. So we had daddy long legs everywhere, trying to pick them up and throw them out of the tent. And
hey, you know what? Cool fact. The dandy longlegs spiders are the most venomous spider in Canada.
Yes,
but
I
they
know
just
that.
don't. They just don't have the mandibles to actually inject the poison into you. Yeah, you betcha.
Yeah.
So,
and they eat a lot of mosquitoes actually too.
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah, you betcha. Yeah. But I didn't know that about the. I just learned that a couple of weeks ago. That there were, because I took a wilderness first aid course, and we talked about the black widow and the brown recluse, to the venomous spiders. Well, the brown recluse isn't even in Canada, but the black widow. And then the instructor, James, he had mentioned about the dandy longlegs. I'm like, what? And sure enough, it is. I was just really surprised, because we used to play with them as a kid and everything.
Oh, I know.
Once you understand that they can't administer the poison, then it's like, oh, okay, that makes more sense, right? So,
well, and I'm one of those people that if I photograph something and I'm not sure what it is, I want to know all about it. If I see an animal, bird, insect, whatever it is, I want to know as much as I can about it. And part of it is so that if I see it again, I recognize it. Same as with using Merlin to listen to birds.
Right. Yeah.
Like I can recognize all these bird songs now. I'm pulling into my driveway. Oh, that's a warbling vireo, you little shit. I'll spot you one day, because they're so tiny. They're so tiny, and they're like this light green, and they blend into the trees, right?
Oh, I
But
see. Okay.
I can hear them, but I cannot find them in the trees.
Wow, that's cool. I actually started using that app too, just recently.
That's great.
Just to get an idea of what the birds were, other than, well, that's a yellow one, that's a brown one, like, you know, that kind of stuff. It's a cool app. Like, I can't believe the accuracy, and you know, looking at the audio file and this, like, holy man, it is super cool.
And sometimes it shows like 5 different birds, you know, you can hear at the same exact time.
That's right.
How does it understand that? That's unbelievable. So
and I like kind of sitting there and looking, like, when it picks out all those different birds, and then it highlights which one's singing at that time.
Right.
So you can try and spot that one at that time, because you're hearing what the sound should be, right?
Oh, yeah, good idea.
Yeah.
For
Well,
sure.
that's it. Like, when we're doing some sunrise shoots, you start hearing all the birds, and it's like, you know, it's that nice early morning vibe, and we're just like, put the app on, and like you said, it's so many birds going all at once, right? And then you realize, oh, okay, that's very common birds to us, but not really aware of what, you know, the song was, or they're all mixed in there. So, you know, it was hard to maybe distinguish, you know, well, it's hard for me to distinguish because I have no idea about birds.
I got the loon.
Yeah, you got the loon. Yeah. I got the mallard.
You can hear
That's
that
about
one.
it. Yeah, exactly. There you go. Yeah, exactly. That was really good. Well, it was. Oh God, we just got off topic here. Where were we going?
I got a question for you. Do you take the 60 to 600 on these trips as well, like on the helicopter? Like, do you hike in with?
So I have taken it in. I've discovered over the past couple of years that if I am hiking, I'm a hiker. I shoot video and stuff with my cell phone, but I don't like stopping, pulling the camera out, putting it in, pulling it, because I'm a slow hiker too. So then, you know, 8 hours for a 2-hour hike just to try and get back there. But I have. I bought, like, at Lake O'Hare, everything's in the bear locker. So I've actually brought like a padlock, because I put it in the locker, and, you know, like, it says that it can be used around 200 mil for macro photography. So I've kind of been playing with that a little bit in the last while, just the way, I guess, the settings or wherever it's at. But when I read through the pamphlet, that's what it said. So it's like, because I don't need this 90 mil macro that weighs like nothing.
Yeah,
right. I always will bring this big lens with me.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I guess it's like our 100 to 400, Joe. I guess that does, you know, you can do macro kind of with that. So it's probably the same kind of range, right? So.
Yeah. A lot of the zooms, like trying to think, like 24 to 70 or 24 to 105, that kind of stuff. They call it kind of a built-in macro. So at a certain point, it gives you like quarter life size or half life size. It's not a true macro where you get the 1-to-1, but a lot of these lenses have a built-in macro setting. And I think more common, I'm just seeing if I have a lens around here. I think it's more common to be like quarter life size, you know, for the macro, which is cool. You know, it's still good to have that feature built in 100%, but
it's a lot easier to use. I started shooting a bunch of, I called it intimate details in nature. And I had a gallery show in Kimberley last year. And then there's the article that's coming out in the fall issue of Canadian Camera Magazine is actually expanding on that intimate details in nature, and just kind of what I see when I'm out there, and just some of the images and stuff showing more details. And I guess too, that's kind of like we were talking about how I see things. So I see all the little things now that I never used to see before. And it's changed. I
like
watched
the more the intimate things, right? Like
it's
not so much the grand.
Yeah. Yeah, I found
Okay.
that like I still, grand landscapes are still pretty.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong. I love like misty mountains and stuff like that, shooting in black and
Sure.
white. And I can see that very well. Even if I'm in color, I can tell what's going to work in black and white.
Okay.
Oh, that's a great
Um,
skill.
it is, and it's
Hmm.
it's interesting trying to explain it to other people
Hmm.
because some people have a hard time seeing in black and white. But it's like,
Hmm.
okay, well, switch your camera to monochrome, and
That's
there you
right.
switch
Yep.
it over. It's like, oh, now I can see it, and it's like, yes,
Hmm.
because you're not looking at these colors and stuff. You're looking at shapes and shadows and light and everything like that.
Hmm.
Sure. Textures and
Yeah,
Yeah.
compression and yeah.
yeah.
Well,
It's
the
just
tones
complete.
too, right?
Yeah, and it's
Yeah.
it's
Hmm.
different, but with all the little things, like I'm just sitting and watching things. I watched an ant drag this little piece of a cookie across the sidewalk. And I'm
Hmm.
cheering him on. It's like, you can do this, man. Like,
Yeah.
you're going to feed
Yeah.
everybody. You can do it. But,
It's
whereas a lot of people
amazing.
just step on it
Yeah.
and not even think anything twice about it, right?
Sure. Yeah.
Well, it's amazing what you can actually see when you look.
Yeah.
Like it's incredible. Like, I mean, yeah, it's, I guess it's part and part of this thing that we talk about too, where, you'll go into the woods and you're saying, today I'm going to go and do some photography. Well, without a conscious effort of actually looking for something specific, there's a lot of times where you'd actually go for a walk and not come away with anything because there's so much to see, right?
Hmm.
So if you went in with a project in mind saying, I'm going to go look for like hearts in nature, it's amazing how many hearts you actually see in nature, right?
Yeah.
So forcing yourself to be present, like what you're talking about, I mean, you could just sit on the floor of the forest and start looking, and you'd be amazed by what you're surrounded by because
Yeah.
you're being present and you're actually looking. So
Yeah.
I don't know if that's kind of what you're saying, like the intimate details and stuff, but when you actually start to look,
Yeah.
it's amazing what you can find.
What you can find instead of
Yeah.
going out there and, I'm going to go out for sunrise or sunset.
Hmm. Hmm.
Right. And, the forecast says that there's supposed to be these amazing colors and stuff and everything in the sky. And you get out there, maybe there's just this little pop and then that's it.
Hmm.
Or there's nothing. Like I've had
Hmm.
a
Right.
lot of sunrises and
Oh yeah.
sunsets
Oh
like
yeah.
that.
Hmm.
And instead of being disappointed and coming home and going, well, that's it, I guess I'll
Hmm.
just go home. Um, Start looking to see what else there is. Like
Hmm.
and especially with the sunrises and sunsets, if you think the light's gone, sit there for another 10 minutes and
You
see what
betcha.
happens.
Hmm.
Because that's when the magic usually comes through, right? Especially if you have cloudy skies or a storm's
Hmm.
passed or something like that. So many people do get focused on that. But if I don't capture this,
Hmm.
well, it was a waste of time. Like
Hmm.
I got up at 4 a.m. and there was nothing.
Hmm.
Right.
There's lots there. You just didn't
Yep.
allow yourself to see it and
Hmm.
think about how to see it.
And look
Hmm.
around, right? Like
Yeah.
we're photographing many sunrises and you look around and there's light on the mountains and light on different behind you. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
be
Always
aware of
look
your
behind you.
surroundings. Yeah,
Always look behind you.
Yeah.
absolutely.
So under your projects, I see that your intimate details in nature. So birds around me. What was that all about? Was that another kind of being present kind of thing where you're starting to notice all these birds, or am I like way off?
That was COVID.
Okay,
So it
perfect.
was it was started during COVID because
Hmm.
you weren't supposed to go anywhere, you weren't supposed to do
Hmm.
anything. Um, so I had been feeding the birds on my deck for a while, and
Mm.
there's like a groove that's cut in my railing on my deck that used to have
Hmm.
lattice, and the lattice got old and ratchety, so we pulled it
Hmm.
out of there, but it's perfect for putting seeds.
Nice.
So
That's
instead of
awesome.
just the birds on the feeders, I'd start trickling the sunflower seeds into the
Hmm.
rail on the deck. And because then if you sat quietly, they would come quite close and
Okay.
try and get them. So I started photographing the birds, learning more about them, their
Hmm.
nesting behavior, like which is male, which is female, which with chickadees, I honestly don't know still. Just maybe one's a little bigger than the other one. And then it's just kind of expanded. And the last 2 years, I've made a conscious effort, if I'm photographing birds, to try not to photograph them on feeders.
Okay.
So this includes hummingbirds,
Mm-hmm.
which are extremely difficult.
Sure.
Nuthatches, where my daughter lives, they have these great big massive fir trees,
Mm-hmm.
and they like going up and down the trees. So you get them going up, you get them going down. They'll stash seeds in the grooves in the bark. So
Oh, okay.
yeah, so just to sit and watch them, and that's kind of where the panning has started coming into. So if you watch a raptor in specific, so they'll sit there, and if they have a fish, or if they have if they're sitting on a post or a tree or something and you're watching them, so usually just before they go to take flight, they poop.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And then so it's like you're ready, you know they're going to take off.
Yeah.
You're ready for them. So to catch that lift and then the flapping of the wings, and to try and get it when the wings are outstretched, but they're not on anything. They don't have that post or whatever it is.
That's right.
Under them. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
So, and it's way more challenging to try and take a picture of a bird not on a feeder than on a feeder.
How
I
about
bet.
just taking pictures of birds?
Yeah.
I've been
Humming,
trying to shoot birds.
they
Man, it's
are very
tough.
challenging.
It is tough. I mean,
Mhm.
sure, I can get them walking and doing their thing, especially the shorebirds and stuff. But my
Yeah.
God, trying to get them in flight. Oh,
And
I don't know.
hummingbirds, like she's got the same thing. She's got all these vines on these big trees, and the hummingbirds will go to the feeder and then they'll sit there
Oh, wow.
and preen and clean
Mhm.
themselves and do their mating dances and all these other things and stuff, right? And you're just like,
Mhm.
holy cow, like they're hard little buggers to photograph, though. Very hard.
No kidding. No
Yeah.
kidding. Yeah, it's I'll stick to bears, thanks. Was gonna
You can find them in your lens a little easier too.
no,
Well,
yeah.
So just a little side note here. This past weekend, I was in Waterton, and we
Oh,
were
nice.
coming out of the bison paddock.
Mhm.
Okay.
They have the winter gates open, so they're way back there, right? We were supposed to
Right.
get up to 200 millimeters of rain in the foothills,
Mhm.
which is 8 inches.
Mhm.
So that didn't happen, but it was still not great out. But so we went in the bison paddock, gates are open. It's like, okay, they're way over there. Let's just go out. So as we're leaving, I can see an eagle and 2 crows chasing it. And so I'm like, stop, stop, stop. So stop the vehicle. And this is where the panning comes in. So it ends up that there's 2 eagles and they're fighting over something. And then the crows are diving in. So one of them had a gopher, looks like a gopher.
Nice.
Oh.
And the other one is trying to get it. And then the crows are just kind of antagonizing them. So when I got home and zoomed in, this is a first for me. It's a mature golden eagle and an immature golden.
Oh.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very
Yeah.
cool.
Wow.
It was really cool. And that's the first
They're
time I've actually
super cool.
seen a golden. Like I thought maybe
Mhm.
the one was an immature bald, but no, it's an
Mhm.
immature golden.
Wow,
Nice.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Holy jeez. Yeah, those are awesome birds too.
Yeah.
I
And
know
it
what
was
that
just-
bird is.
You know what that bird is? Yeah.
Yeah.
They're
They're
big.
big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and it was far away, but it was big enough that you could still tell it was a
Sure.
big bird, right? But just
Yeah.
super cool watching them, chasing each other, and
Mhm.
the one's trying to grab the gopher from the other one. And yeah, it
Mhm.
was really cool.
Oh man, that's awesome. Those are the best. The
Yeah.
unexpected. You're going there and you're looking for elk, and you find elk, and everything's cool. But it's those little extras, right?
Yeah.
That make things really special, like that for sure.
Yeah. During light chasers or after light chasers, I guess I'd gone for a drive just to kind of be alone for a bit, because
Mhm.
it's, it wasn't as emotional this year as last year, but it's
No,
still,
it wasn't. Yeah.
it's still a pretty full weekend.
Mhm.
Yes. Yeah.
And so I went
And a
to
lot of
this-
people.
and a lot of people,
Yeah.
a
Mhm.
lot of people. So I went to this little pond on this back road, and I'm at the pond, and I'm like, squinting. Is that a moose? Sure enough, it's a moose across there eating. So it's dusk, like
Yeah.
tough to get a picture. So I'm photographing the moose and I caught something out of the corner of my eye and I turned up. It's like, oh my gosh, there's a porcupine right beside me too.
No
Oh,
way.
cool.
Isn't
Yeah.
that awesome how things just happen,
Oh yeah.
and you
Yeah.
have them to yourself,
To myself.
To yourself. Yeah.
Yeah. Listening to the frogs. The frogs were just going crazy and the birds. And it was perfect.
Just
It's really
experiencing
good.
nature. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so awesome. Question for you.
Okay.
I know we talked about your gear a little bit, and you've got a wicked 60 to 600, and we know it's Chris knows a bunch of videographers that actually use it for video. Do you shoot video?
So I do on occasion.
Yeah.
Typically I find what I need to do is figure out how to edit raw video.
Oh boy.
Because right, or switch and do, because I've got the two slots, or do JPEG and RAW. So I have done, once I take my pictures and stuff like that, I have switched over and shot little snippets of video. I do use my phone for video a lot.
Oh, sure. It's awesome.
Especially when I'm hiking, and I have an Android and it has this setting that is called director's view.
Oh,
so
okay.
you hold your phone up and whatever you're videoing, it uses both cameras. So it puts a little video of you in the top right corner, so people can see you talking about what you're shooting. So
that
it's actually really cool. Yeah.
Okay, you guys keep talking. I got to get a pen and paper. That's actually pretty cool. And then Chris, you could tell Tracey how hard it is to edit
raw video.
Right.
And you need those LUT things. And
yes. The LUT things.
The computer.
Go get your paper,
the software,
Joe.
and because I don't shoot in RAW. I shoot in, what do I shoot in, Chris? Like,
well, you Reconnect
regular,
basically, regular video for sure.
Regular video. So I'm going to grab that. You tell Tracey.
Sure, you do that. Well, then I was thinking when you were talking about panning with your 60 to 600 for photography, if you actually did any panning with video, tracking the animals, because that scenario of the two eagles would be great.
Oh, that would have been cool. Yeah.
Because I used to do photos all the time, and we're all photographing the same thing, trying to sell the same artwork. So I started getting into my video background and doing that a lot more. So I find capturing behavior like that pretty amazing, to be able to see those two eagles and you're tracking it with video. That would have been pretty, I'm sure the photos are amazing, don't get me wrong, but seeing that behavior on video would be pretty cool, especially with that lens. You should give it a try.
Well, so the photos were shot at 420 millimeter is what my information tells me, and cropped in.
Sure.
So, I was happy that I was able to bring it, use some topaz to bring it to the point where you could discern that this one eagle had something in his claws, or his talons, I guess they're called. But no, I think, and because I don't use, I very rarely use a tripod unless it's night photography. But that being said, I've got it figured out pretty good. So I'm steady.
Yes.
Quite steady. So to try and do, I think that would have been amazing to have the video on that.
Well, I would say 95% of the wildlife video that I shoot is all handheld.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you can do it. I mean, it's, I do have to say, with the mirrorless, there's stabilization built into the bodies as well as the lens. So it definitely helps having the mirrorless scenario, like 8 stops of stabilization.
Yeah.
But if you're able to be steady like you are and do a nice panning technique like you do, then, I think the video would come naturally for you for that.
I'll try that next time I go out, which will probably be a week or two from now. Yeah.
Well, there you go. Yeah. And honestly, I mean, at the cameras that they shoot these days, I mean, just shooting in regular video, like 4K video, I don't know what the D87 or your camera actually shoots, the capabilities of that. But I mean, shooting always at the highest capable of your camera is always best anyway, whatever it shoots.
I was looking at someone else's camera. They were trying to figure something out this past weekend. And so I'm looking through and I'm like, oh, your phone shoots 8K.
Right.
It's like, geez,
What?
maybe it's time to upgrade mine.
Yeah, no kidding.
Wow.
Well, and
Yeah,
that's the
8K
thing. I mean,
video.
yeah, we have, like Joe and I shoot 8K a lot on my R5, but the only time I shoot 8K is really so I can like crop in to get a great 4K signal. So
Yeah,
in the situation of those Eagles, I probably would have been shooting 8K because I
yeah,
know I can crop in and be able to get a half decent 4K video out of that.
yeah.
But a lot of what, well, Joe's was the same way. A lot of these days we're shooting 4K, 120 frames per second to get the nice slow-mo effect that you got
Yeah,
there. So,
yeah.
Mhm.
but
I did this past summer. I did workshop with Trixie Paxis. Not
okay,
sure she's a videographer, and she was talking about like shooting the video with your phone or your camera and where to get it to so that it was smooth.
right,
And so I did take a bunch of notes and stuff just to try, because it's the same thing as if you're doing pictures. You don't want to share something that looks like crap that,
right,
pixelated and looks like it came out of, the Stone Age or something like that. There's so
right.
many good things out there now. If you're going to share it, you want it to be good,
Exactly. Yeah, for
unless
sure.
it's like a Wolverine, and then who cares how good it is? It's a
Right.
Wolverine.
Or a badger. Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
anything.
Chris has got an amazing photo of a badger.
Oh.
Maybe he'll share it.
Joe,
Well,
you little.
we said it now. So, but yeah, I totally get what you mean. If it's a really unique experience or something, you don't care. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
You
So
do the best
I
that
need
you
to know
can.
the story about the badger now.
I knew that was coming.
Oh, Chris will show you. He was on a workshop of mine.
Like this must have been like 2019 or something like that,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
2020, or I don't know, whatever it was. But
Chris
it was a long time ago.
So excited.
Well,
He
we
got a
knew that there
picture
was
of a
badgers
badger.
in this one area, and we was so excited. And we were coming back, to the bed and breakfast, and it was like 10 p.m. at night. It was getting really dark, and then somebody said, "There's a badger," and so I started taking photos of this badger, and I couldn't really see anything that I had, and get back to the B&B, and there's just this big blur streak that across.
Just a black blob. He's like, "Look at my badger." Just
So
like,
it became
oh
a
my
running joke over all these years. Joe hasn't forgotten it. So.
Oh no.
And he never
I hope you
will.
can. I'm sure you know where it is, Chris. So
Yeah.
you can show
probably
it on
do. I'll
screen.
put it on here. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
exactly.
Yeah.
Perfect. Perfect.
Yeah.
So
with the wah, 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 wah.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
there you go. Good idea. Good idea. We just want to take a quick break to give a shout out to our title sponsor, The Camera Store in Calgary, Alberta.
The Camera Store is where we go for all our photography and video gear. Whether you're a beginner or a seasoned professional, they've got you covered.
Plus, they ship right across Canada with free shipping on most orders over $99. You can find everything you need at thecamerastore.com.
But yeah, video is awesome.
Yeah.
I know it's hard to decide whether or not to take photo and video. Chris and I have talked about this for years as far as what do you shoot first, and it's something you'll eventually figure out. But for somebody like me that doesn't shoot a whole lot of video and really found some of the editing software intimidating, CapCut, desktop version of CapCut, Premiere, like Rush, just some of these make it so easy now to edit video, to the point where you're just dropping the stuff in on the timeline
And it goes.
you're just trimming it, adding maybe a transition, adding some some music or something, and you're done. Like it's getting really easy. You don't want to see the timeline of this podcast. It looks like some sort of dashboard of a jet or something.
But I've been
it's
editing
ridiculous.
since 1991,
Yeah.
so I'm used to seeing all
Yeah.
that, right? So,
Yeah,
I think
for sure.
the best information, or not information, advice that I was given, which I kind of try and throw in the back of my head, is once you commit to one, you should stay there if it's good.
100%. Yeah.
Because otherwise you're going to miss something trying to switch things over, do something, right?
You'll miss them both.
Yeah.
I'm guilty of that. Actually, was it Jackie's podcast? Jackie Matichuk? She
I
had said
think,
that too,
Yeah.
where she said, just when you're about ready to turn off that video, give it another 5 seconds. Like you just, you know what I mean? Because I'm guilty of that. I'm like, okay, now I got to get photos of what's happening.
Yeah.
I go back and actually look at the video, and it sucks because I cut it off too short. It's not a smooth ending. Like the behavior didn't stop to the point where I cut off the behavior before it actually stopped, which would make like a nice clean break from it, So that's good advice. Just commit.
By the time you start taking photos, you probably miss the behavior you really wish you would have taken photos of, right? So you kind of lose both scenarios, right?
Yeah, you're stuck with half and half.
Yeah,
for sure.
And if you're videoing or even photographing with that lens, and there's a situation happening, just be in the moment, keep doing what you're doing, because there's, I know we've had numerous times I have my 400 and I'm shooting and I need a little wider. I just keep shooting because by the time I reach down to grab my 100 to 400, the situation's over, right?
Yeah.
So. Yeah. So, I mean, photo and video are very similar in those scenarios, but at the end of the day, just capture it one way or another if you can and run with it. So, yeah. So,
Tell the story.
So, and I don't know if this came across a certain way. All I'm just trying to say is like, don't let video editing intimidate, or prevent you from shooting video, because these programs, I'm sure there's 100 other ones too, just make it so easy for somebody just getting in, because that's about as far as I want to go. I want to drop my clips in, put a transition and export. And even then, Chris has to tell me what I need to export it as. So it looks okay. You know what I mean?
Right,
so
that's the program I suggest too. CapCut, there's CapCut desktop, iPad, Android, iPhone, and it's majority of stuff you can do for free. And there's the odd thing you can't, but I mean, no, for sure. So,
well, I will try and
Premiere very much. So
try and accomplish more of that this year, this summer.
You know what? This is a perfect transition into social media, because we've talked about this before, Chris and I, and the main reason why, one of the reasons why I started shooting video was because of social media and those damn reels for Instagram. And years ago, what has it been now? At least a couple of years, 2 or 3 years, whatever it was. I had to start doing that to keep up with the algorithms and my audience and everything else. And so it was kind of, I felt like forced onto me because of social media. So my question to you then is, social media, love it or hate it? How do you approach it? Let's just start with that.
Okay. Love it or hate it. I don't mind it most of the times, but there are times when I feel overwhelmed with trying to keep up with the Joneses.
You betcha.
Sure. Yeah.
And for me, so I'm mostly active on Facebook and Instagram. I have a TikTok account, but a lot of that,
just dancing.
Well, it's kind of like TikTok, and I have, I guess it's X now. And
right.
I can post whatever I want there because hardly anybody follows me. So it doesn't matter if it's something that's more, language or something that's politically incorrect that I find funny. You can post it there because nobody's even going to see it. But if I look back, I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that. When I post on Facebook and Instagram, I post different things. There are not, so if you follow me on both platforms, you will see different images posted on them.
Oh, great.
That's
so there's a tip for anybody who doesn't follow me on both. You might want to.
There you go.
Very cool.
And what I've started doing is when I post on Instagram, it now shares to my personal Facebook page, not my business one.
Okay.
And part of that is I have a very active, loyal Facebook audience. A lot of them are local people. And
nice. Okay.
Yeah. So and a lot of them are friends. So if I post on my Facebook page, they're going to see one thing, but then it'll pop up on my personal page as well.
Nice.
And for me, part of the reason for doing that is, like you follow somebody and they post on both platforms but it's always the same. Like, so in a sense, it was
That's true.
well, why am I going to follow both? Why am I going to go in and check both? Because if I'm more active on Facebook, I'll just follow you there.
That's right. Yep.
Sure.
Yeah. So, and I also find too, just with the way Instagram is geared more at the square crop and stuff like that, it's changed a bit now, but you can edit differently. for the different platforms. So when you
True
crop
enough,
your
yeah,
image,
yeah.
right, you can go to a square crop more so for that. And then compared to Facebook, where you can, you can share those big images. And I use Panocut on Instagram to be able to share like the landscape images that aren't a square crop.
Okay.
Is that
Hang
how
on,
people
hang
do
on.
You got to
that?
write that down too.
Hang on. Okay,
I
what's
was
this?
wondering
This is
how people did that.
This is an app.
Yeah,
An
it's an app.
Okay.
Yeah, it's an app called Panocut, and I use the free version. So,
Okay, Panocut for Insta.
yeah. And so
Yeah.
you can make it so it's a no crop image. You can, how Chris Andres always does those ones that you got to kind of swipe through, and he's got half and half, and then it comes together. You can do that too.
Oh,
so
nice.
there's a lot of
Okay.
options with using it. Yeah.
Excellent.
Very cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you for the tip. Tip
But
number
that's
2.
kind of my thing with social media. And sometimes I schedule.
Yeah.
I don't schedule a lot, and I've kind of tried to pare down. I used to have 2 Instagram accounts, one for nature and wildlife and one for creative portraits, and it just all goes in one now. I don't have time for that. Like,
Sure. Yeah.
and between
Double the stress.
and double the things. I've started kind of a new business, the Mindful Lens photography retreats.
Okay.
So I've created a Facebook and Instagram for that, and already I'm struggling to remember to go in there and post on there. So it's like, okay, do I keep doing this for now? Do I just put it all together? Let's see what happens as things grow. It's new. We just did the first retreat last weekend in the monsoon pouring rain in Waterton. So
nice. So I'm sorry. I'm just gonna. It's called what, Tracey?
So it's Mindful Lens photography retreats
On Instagram
and Facebook. And there's a really cheesy website that I built through Canva, but it was a landing space, right?
Perfect. There you go.
First retreat happened. Moving forward, I'll be doing it independently and seeing how that goes. So I'm trying to work on planning another retreat, possibly for the fall, if I can fit it in with all the other things going on. But if not, then the second week of June in 2026. So
nice. That's awesome.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, we'll certainly be putting that up in the notes.
Yeah.
Your link to that for Instagram and your website for
and
sure.
on screen too, for sure.
Yeah, and it's just kind of the thought process behind it is I went to a mindful photography workshop / retreat with the late Lee Horbachowski, and it really changed the way that I saw things. And at that point, I was still struggling with depression and stuff, and it affected me very deeply. And basically, it just changed the way that I see things and the way that I approach things. And I've wanted to kind of continue that work that she was doing, but I haven't been doing this for very long, so it was kind of like, I don't know if I can do this by myself. Like,
sure you can.
I'm not sure if I'm well known enough that people are actually going to pay money to.
You just got to start.
You just got to
start.
You know, the biggest issue with a new business, something like what you're doing, a new workshop or anything like that, is just like starting.
Just start.
Yeah.
I mean, you can what's it called? Analysis paralysis.
Yeah.
You could overthink it for years, to the point where, it just may never even take off, but just do it. And
I had a staff meeting with myself driving back home from my daughter's the other day.
There you go.
Staff meeting.
Yeah.
And basically created a whole business plan in an hour drive, and stopped in Fernie and scribbled it all down on paper, because it's like, okay, just talked it through with myself moving forward, like where I want to take this, what I want to do with it. And it doesn't really have any specific genre of photography that I want
Sure.
to. It'll be nature oriented,
For sure.
but this doesn't matter if you have a phone, if you have a camera, what you have. It's just going to try and get you to see the world differently.
Excellent.
That's awesome.
So do you do any other workshops or teaching? I know you offer mentorship, so we want to talk about that too.
So I postponed my mentorship this year because I was offered one with Monica Devitt. So
Oh, nice.
I'm currently doing that with another woman and learning a lot.
Good.
She's going to teach me how to be an overlord.
Oh,
excellent.
But
awesome.
next year I will put the mentorship back out there again.
That's awesome.
I've taught some little like photography workshops locally and stuff like that. I did one last spring, and I've been asked to do one again potentially last fall, potentially again this fall.
Excellent.
So we'll see where that goes. And it's kind of just the same thing, like just getting people to get outside and move around and, not get stuck in. And some of them taught me some little things that they saw and stuff like that too. So always learning.
They always do.
You never stop learning. Oh God, no. I mean, that's the best part of a lot of these workshops is learning from others.
Yeah.
Like it's not just okay, we're going to teach you about shutter speed and aperture. No, that's far from it. It has nothing to do with that. It's throwing ideas off each other, bouncing, trying different techniques, and we're setting up for a landscape and just seeing everybody's composition and how it's like, wow, I never thought about that, or that's cool. I'm going to steal all your ideas for my next workshop, and then but I mean that's the best part of it. And even after the workshop, people still chatting about it and looking at photos, so it's, I think that's one of the best parts of the workshop is learning from each other.
Well, a lot of people just want to be there and hang out with each other for a few days and learn from each other, the same like-minded people, right? Like light chasers, you just spend 4 days with all those people. You learn so much from them.
Oh, yeah. Right? And I like the fact too that like when you're standing, you can be standing 3 feet from somebody and they shoot something and you look at it and it's like, wow, like I didn't see that. Like that's crazy.
Just so
everybody
close.
sees a little different.
Yeah.
So close. Yeah. Is this your first mentorship that you're involved in, or did you have one prior to
No,
this
I
one?
did one. I've been pretty lucky actually. I had one years ago with a photographer, Craig Brown.
Okay.
So he's kind of off social media and everything now, but he's an instructor in Ontario.
Okay.
And then last year I had one with Lee Nordby.
Nice.
That's
right.
Okay.
I remember that now.
Yeah.
That's why I was asking, because I knew you were involved in something before Monica. So it was with Lee, eh? Okay.
Yeah, it was with Lee. And I did, when Lee did his monochrome Magic in the Mountains workshop, I also took that as well too. So I learned a lot about seeing in black and white from him.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. And just how to kind of put things all together and stuff like that. So
being a part of these mentorship programs it certainly has given you a lot of insight into offering one now, so that's amazing that you're able to do a few of those. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, no, for sure. I feel like very thankful because I know people put in for them time after time after time after time. And, all I can say is that on that note is like, if you aren't chosen, don't take it personally. It's nothing you've done, nothing you haven't said. Even myself with the people who submitted letters through before I said I was going to postpone it, looking at them, it's like, oh man, like now I understand for somebody who gets like dozens or hundreds or whatever, how do you choose? How do you narrow it down to somebody? And it's just that one thing that speaks to you.
That's right.
Sure. Yeah.
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 The connection or whatever. Yeah, for sure.
Well, they must have been Nikon shooters because that's why you got picked. Anyways.
Lee's not.
Lee's not now, but he was.
No,
he was
he?
Nikon. Yep, he was.
Oh, okay.
He went to the dark
was
side.
He really?
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, I'll have to give him a hard time now.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. Because we don't normally?
Yeah, true enough. Yeah.
He's an Oilers fan. I got to give him a
Well,
hard time.
and that's it. You guys scrapped it out of Light Chasers.
Yeah,
so,
we did. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I was going to say, what was your question, Chris?
No, I was just going to ask you a little bit more about your expand a little bit more on your black and white photography, and did that come from deep inside from a different space from this transition that you went through with your health and all that, or did you just start switching to black and white and you liked it, or how did that come about?
So kind of a combination. I did have a black and white project that I started years ago, which I hope to finish one day, called Moving Mountains. And
Okay.
it was a black and white pictorial history of coal mining in the Crow's Nest Pass in Elk Valley. And just all
Nice.
shot in black and white.
Mhm.
And then when I kind of went down in the darkness there, when I was recovering from my transplant and depressed
Mhm.
because I couldn't get out, I started driving the mountains during storms. And I would sit and watch the clouds and the mist and like just in the pouring rain sometimes. And just even though, it was soothing just to listen to the rain and be there. And sometimes I'd be
Mhm.
crying. Sometimes I'd be calm. Other times angry. Like there's so many emotions that are going on because you're trying to deal with, well, I can't do this, but I want to do this, but you can't do this. So you need to figure
Oh,
out
yeah.
what you're going to do to get past this.
Mhm.
Okay.
And because most of the times I was out there, it was very gray. Like there's no color anyways, right? You've got clouds and
Sure.
dark and stuff. And so I just kind of started seeing things and photographing them in black and white, and actually switched the camera to monochrome. So I was shooting in black and white.
Okay, I was wondering, do you still do that
Yeah,
now?
sometimes I do, but I see it very
Yeah.
well now. So I
Okay.
don't have to, but there are times when I go out on a day, if it's flat,
Yeah.
I'll switch it over, because then that way you're forced to see in black and white. You don't have an option.
Mhm. Yeah, for sure.
So that's when I started Through the Mist. And the first chapter was kind of talking about mountains and weathers and stuff like that, and just more descriptive. And then I realized as I was going along, that's not what it was about at all. And it was about
Mm.
mood and feeling, and some of the things they're pretty raw. Like the words that went with them is just, it's how I was feeling, and just to write
Mhm.
something down to go with it. And looking at it now, it kind of makes me realize how bad it was. Like, I never went and saw anybody, didn't really talk about it with anybody. I was trying to deal with it on my own for the longest
Mhm.
time, and
Sure.
finally realized that I couldn't. So went
Yeah,
and saw
that's
somebody, and,
the toughest
gradually,
part.
yeah,
Yeah.
gradually climbed back up out of there. And there's still times when, I don't think depression, if you've had depression, I don't think it ever really goes away. It's always in your back pocket, and it's always there. And sometimes things happen, and you can feel it, but you develop better tools for how you deal with it.
Correct. Yeah.
But
Mhm.
it's not something that box it up and ship it away and get rid of it. Like I don't
No.
anyways. Like it's still there, and there'll be times when, like, I had a really bad week last week. There was just a lot of stuff going on, and
Mhm.
I just literally wanted to go sit in the bush. That's
Mhm.
all I wanted
Sure.
to do, because that brings me peace and
Mhm.
brings me back to where I need to be.
Mhm.
And I couldn't.
Oh.
So
Where are you
yeah,
from, Tracy?
I'm in Elkford.
No. Where are you
So
from? Like born and raised?
um, I
Or
was
were you? Is it
born.
BC or?
No, I was born in northwestern Ontario.
Aha! I knew it. Okay, the reason why I
Because I
said that,
said bush.
the bush. I knew you were Ontario because you don't need to say anything more. But because I was born in Ontario, Northern Ontario, Sault Ste. Marie, and nobody says the bush if you're like, unless you're from Ontario, everybody
That's
says
funny.
the woods or the forest or anything. And when you say go sit in the bush, I'm like, it's Ontario. It has to be Ontario.
Well,
Perfect.
I've lived here since 1980, so
Yeah, for sure. But it hasn't
carried over
left
a
you
bit.
though.
No, it
Yeah,
hasn't.
it hasn't left you. Because I don't know about you, but camp in Ontario, we call it camp. You go to camp, and whether it's like a camp on the lake or in the bush, like a cabin or stuff like this. And when when we moved out here in back in 2001, we're like, oh, we should find a camp because camp back home and everything else. Well, out here in Alberta, it's called a cottage.
Oh,
And we were looking at Sylvan Lake, like thinking, hey, it's a lake, not really knowing what it was, right? And back then, they wanted a cottage, and it was like $250,000 or something ridiculous. This is back in 2001.
Just
and we're
the
like,
house.
yeah.
and I'm like, that's not a camp. That's a house on the lake. You know what I mean? It wasn't. So
Yeah.
Mhm.
So my mom and dad moved us here in 1980 because there was work for them here.
That's right. Yeah.
They left in 1984
Mm-hmm.
and went to Red Deer.
Okay.
And for a period of time had a cottage in Sylvan Lake.
Oh, okay.
That's why I'm smiling. But it was built, or they bought it in, oh man, like I want to say somewhere around 88 or something like that. And it wasn't right in Sylvan Lake. It was in Jarvis Bay Provincial, like on the edge of the provincial park there. So the only time it got really busy was on long weekends. And when they went to do some renovations, they pulled up the carpet in the living room, and it was pristine hardwood floor underneath that.
Nice.
So it was an older place that they bought.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
For a lot less than $250,000.
Oh, I know. It was just such a funny comparison because Ontario, especially Northern Ontario, you grew up in the bush. Most people had a camp,
Yeah. We didn't because we lived on an acreage. So.
Well, yeah. I mean, I guess in my area, right?
Yeah.
As far as between Sault Ste. Marie and Thunder Bay.
We were in Fort Frances.
Oh, I know Fort Frances. Yeah, I know where that is.
Yeah,
okay.
And we went to our friend's camp somewhere. I can't remember where it was, but it wasn't Lake of the Woods, but it was somewhere in the general area. But yeah. I don't know. That's a long time ago. Like, you're making me test my memory here.
Well, it was awesome when I heard Bush. I mean, boom, I knew it was Ontario. So sorry to take away from all that.
We were talking about black and white.
There we go.
She brought us back on track.
Yeah.
Black and white being in the bush. That's exactly what it is. Yeah, for sure. No. But I guess that's where you find your peace and your solitude, and you can kind of de-stress and ground yourself. I mean, nature is so many things.
So when we did the Mindful Lens retreat this weekend, and I took everybody into the trees, and it was raining, but it wasn't pouring. So it's like, we're going outside. And we stood in the trees, and I had everybody close their eyes. And I said, okay, I want you to take a deep breath in and breathe out, and breathe in and breathe out, and just be quiet. What do you hear? We could hear a bee buzzing around. That's how quiet it was. You could hear the wind in the trees. You could hear the rain. It's like, okay, now take a deep breath, and what do you smell? And just all those things that, and when we were done, we did about, 5-10 minutes of just kind of listening and being. And then it was like, okay, I want you to move around and see what you can see. But don't say anything. Stay in that mindset. Stay in that headspace. And
nice.
It was actually really interesting, like seeing what people were seeing, right? Because you've brought them back just very small. Like look at your feet. What's by your feet? What's above you?
Everybody's always in so much of a hurry, right?
Yeah.
Be in the moment.
Yeah. And looking for the big things. Like that's what I find when you go for a drive somewhere. Like I'll watch the light moving across the mountains and stuff like that, but I'm not looking for that spectacular mountain image. Maybe if you're at Assiniboine, because it's Assiniboine, but but even so, there's so many little things. So I
even
still
when you're
shoot,
driving, absolutely.
even when you're driving, yeah.
Yeah.
Like just you might notice something and to stop and flip around or go back or I was coming back from Invermere this past summer or fall, I guess it would have been. And I'm driving along and I can see this big dead tree on the side of the road. And it's like, there's something in that tree. And I drive past, it's like, holy crap, it's 3 great blue herons. And they're perched on the branches, just sitting there. So I flipped around and stopped and shot some photos and thinking, man, the only thing better than that would have been if they were vultures.
Totally.
Yeah.
Turkey vultures or something, right? But it was just super cool because they're just standing there hanging out, right?
No kidding.
That's cool.
And that's the best part of some of these adventures too, is you just don't know what you're going to see, right?
Yeah.
You're like, should I go? It's the same roads. It's, whatever the excuse is. But when you finally do go, there's usually something cool. So you never regret going.
That's true.
Right?
I've driven to Invermere a bazillion times. My parents pretty much live out there. So we always head down Highway 93 south, right, from the highway. But there's been a few times over the years that there's been a forest fire and you couldn't cut through that way. So I've actually headed down Highway 3, come up through Cranbrook and that way. And that is such a beautiful drive that way. It's a little extra longer, but it is an amazing drive.
Yeah. So that road that goes from Cranbrook to Invermere, and then if you go north from Invermere to Golden.
Right. Yes.
Yeah. Like it's
a few times.
Absolutely beautiful drive. It takes you longer because when it says 90 at night, you go 90 at night or maybe even 80 because of the 100%. Deer.
Yes, there's so many deer. Okay. My sister lives in Kelowna, so I've driven that road from Invermere to Kelowna quite a bit or whatever through Golden. And you're right. There's a lot of deer on that road.
Oh, I know. I know. And when you come back down, so when I go to Lake O'Hara, I typically try and stay when I come out because I'll do the full day in there. And then I'll try and stay at the Kicking Horse Campground in Yoho National Park and then travel out and down. And part of the reason for doing that now is because I did try and come home when I went out at 6:30 bus or whatever it was. And then you get there and you try and it's like, I can't do this. Like I was all nice and relaxed and now I'm tight and then my eyes are sore. I'm trying to see these bloody deer that are trying to kill themselves, like jumping out in front of you all the time. So
there's a time.
And then in the springtime you get, because it's a migratory route for so many birds, that swans all over the place. Like there'll be swans in the wetlands. They're like crazy. And
oh, really? Oh, cool.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. They do the Wings Over the Rockies.
They do.
Bird festival there too. So
that's right. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
It's one.
I haven't been there yet. Have you been there before? To the Wings Over the Rockies?
We didn't participate in the festival, but my daughter and I went up for my birthday is right around that time. So we do birthday, Mother's Day, bird watching now apparently. So I've made her into a birder.
Very cool.
Nice.
That Wings of the Rockies become pretty big, actually.
Yes.
So it's
it
really
has.
Good. Yeah, it's good for the area for sure.
It is. No, that's one of the locations that I'm putting on my short list to look at doing a retreat at is up that way.
Nice.
Yeah. So is it a birder retreat or a bird photographer retreat or both? Because
it'll just be part of, I tried to shortlist when I was having my business meeting with myself. Mm-hmm. I tried to come up with some locations that people don't typically go to because everybody goes to Banff or area, Jasper or area, Drumheller or area. Mm-hmm. A lot of people go to Waterton, Joe, Chris, right? But at the same time, I think that Waterton's a little different because it isn't as well discovered yet as those other locations are. And you can still go outside of July and August and not be completely crowded and still find spaces with no people. Mm-hmm. So I just kind of tried to shortlist some of the places, like to go up the Columbia Valley, to go Fernie. Tons of stuff to do in Fernie. Nobody does anything like that in Fernie, right? True. Now they will. Yeah. cut that part out. No.
Yeah.
But just to try and find different places to go where there's lots to see and lots to do that haven't been visited hundreds and thousands of times before, right?
That's a challenge right now.
And to kind of create something that's a little different. Creston, go to the Creston wetlands, turtles, frogs, birds, like there's so many things there, right? And they do their own, I don't think it's a bird specific festival, but they do a whatever it is there right around the same time too. So just different things to see and go.
Well, I think you have the right mindset, thinking outside the box and trying to do things a little differently, compared to most. Because, even though we've had success with, participants, same participants coming on year after year, on different workshops and stuff. I think having something different and unique, like you said, a location that's not as well known or as popular, but still gives everybody the opportunity to shoot something different.
I have no luck finding the bears in Waterton, so I need to find something different.
Well, I think we saw, what did we saw? 223 bears this workshop.
Yeah, I think so.
Something. Yeah, something like that. So it was, and that was just on the first day.
So that was on Thursday night.
Yeah. No, I've managed. I didn't see any during Light Chasers. We saw one sow with 2 cubs, and they were up the hill. They were branches all over. I took a couple pictures and thought, I'll just watch them. So I just watched them.
Timing is everything.
Time. You know what? You asked my buddy Duncan. I think it was the 3rd workshop he took with me. He was calling bullshit on me because it's like, there's no bears in Waterton, man. There's none. And I don't know what workshop it was where he finally saw it. He was accusing me of Photoshop and this and that. It was like, there's no bears in Waterton because it's how it happens, right? It's timing. Like,
well, we've been there over the years. One night you see like 14, and the next day you see 1 or maybe none or
nothing for the rest of the weekend.
But there's so many other things to see there. Like you can come across. It's just like there's so many opportunities to see other animals there too.
Yeah. So. Yeah. And I think, do I like wildlife? I love wildlife, but there's a lot of wildlife photography workshops out there. And I've always been one who, anytime I do something, I like doing it differently and unique. So, my business cards are a little different from a lot of other people's. And when I hand them to somebody, they go, ooh, because they feel different. And they're square, so they're different, right? Or when I'm editing something, right? Like my black and whites are quite bold, but they're cohesive, or try to make them cohesive anyways, right? Yeah. So that they all flow together. And even with the wildlife and stuff that I photograph, I'm hoping that I'm seeing it in a different manner than other people are, and to sit there and wait. Right? Like you see something and you're like, oh, take those shots. And it's like, okay, now breathe, wait till it moves its damn beak away from that branch. Right. And just try and capture something that's a little different.
No, I can certainly see that in some of your wildlife images here on your website. Like those rams, that's a really cool shot.
That's probably a once in a lifetime. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, that's almost perfect. like not almost. It is perfect. It's like, did you Photoshop that,
ball.
Tracey?
Yeah.
Exactly. Bowling ball, right?
Yeah.
And then capturing the behavior too, like in these sandhills, tossing up, what was that, like grass or?
It's a chunk of dirt and grass. And so here's where the nerdy part comes in. I watched them. And then when I went home, I had to read about what they were doing, because I'm like, okay, that was some kind of dance. So when the male will dig that clump of dirt and grass out with his beak, and the bigger the clump and the higher up in the air that he can throw it is more appealing to the female, because he's a bigger, stronger mate.
Nice. That's great.
Yeah. So he threw the one clump until it was almost gone, and then he grabbed another one and started throwing it again. And that's when she finally responded and started dancing back.
See, that's the nerdy side of what we love about wildlife photography is, because you don't know it all going in. Nobody can.
No. No.
So you go and you shoot, and it's like, you get wowed over the experience, and then you go home, and that's the second part of wildlife photography is learning about the behavior, or what
Yeah.
the actual animal is, or
Yeah.
what that brown bird is, and why it was doing what it was doing and stuff. So
Yeah. No, I've
no,
been
that's
out at my daughter's watching the hummingbirds, and like she
mhm,
has a lot down where she is, and
mhm,
watching them do their little mating dances and stuff. And
mhm.
um, I don't know, I still haven't figured out if it's males or a male and a female, and they do this little spiral dance down from where the bird feeder is.
Oh,
But then,
really?
Oh, wow.
yeah, and I'm not sure if that's two males kind of going at it or if it's or what it
Mm.
is. But then you'll get a male who they'll do this bobbing back and forth, and you can hear it so loud. It's just,
Oh,
and
serious?
he's
Okay.
dancing in front of a female who'll be sitting in the trees there.
Huh.
Yeah,
Oh, you
like
see, the cool
Wow.
stuff.
yeah, it's super
The
cool.
cool stuff. Yeah,
That's very
exactly.
cool.
Yeah, just letting people know that it's okay not to know,
Hmm.
what about everything that's out there. I mean,
Yeah,
doing the research is half the fun, right? I mean,
yeah,
you can
and
certainly
even
learn beforehand,
yeah,
because we always teach that about learning the natural history, behavior of certain species you're trying to photograph. So if you got a
yeah,
target species, of course, you need to learn everything you can before you go out. But
yeah,
those
to make
happy
it easier.
accidents, yeah, that you find out there, and
Yeah.
something you've never seen before, that's a cool part after the fact too. So,
Well, years ago I did a bear walk with Charlie Russell.
oh, nice. I met
And
him too.
yeah, he's such a
Yeah.
cool man. Like he was just, calm, and just his
Hmm.
personality was just wanted you to be
Hmm.
around him and learn more, right?
Hmm.
And so we were in Waterton, and we were down at the little swamp up Red Rock that's there, and he was talking about like all the skunk cabbage and different species that the bears like in the springtime. And so I learned more after that. And we were walking up where I live the one day. We're going for a walk along this swamp, and there's like bear poop everywhere. And I start looking around, and I'm like, oh, um, there's like horsetails coming up all over the ground here. And my husband's like, yeah. And I'm like, this is a bear's one of their favorite foods in the spring. That's probably why we're seeing so much poop around here. Like they're moving through
Hmm.
here and eating a lot of
Hmm.
stuff on the way through, right? And just becoming more bear aware at that time, because it's like, okay, we need to pay attention to what's here. And
Hmm.
um, when I used to do the grizzly bear rub trees too, there was one place that we would hike into, and in June, the vegetation was up to here on me.
Oh,
So
wow.
you can't see if something is coming down that trail towards you. So you're constantly singing and talking and making noise the whole way in, because
Oh, I bet.
you don't know, right, if they're there or not. So, and then the one other trail I used to do, there was this little spindly tree that was at the beginning of the trail. And every time you get there, it would be covered in clumps of fur. And you have to walk in half a kilometer to the other tree.
Oh,
So,
my goodness.
so you get there and be like, oh, and then I did game cameras for forestry as well too. And there was a camera
Oh,
on this
nice.
trail. And the one time that we went and checked it, so we did the bear rub trees, pulled the card, changed the card and batteries. There were 10 different grizzlies going in to the high country in the spring.
Oh, wow. Holy
Like, yeah.
Nice.
cow.
So
That was
you're looking
captured
at
on
it,
it.
yeah,
Oh,
and going
wow.
through, and it's like, holy cow, like all these animals. And here I am walking along with, hello, bear.
Did you go in by yourself or with other people?
So I would go with my dog. On occasion, I would go with other people, but a lot of times I'd
Oh,
just
my
make a
goodness.
lot of noise and go in by
Yeah,
myself.
no kidding.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Wow.
No, Charlie was an interesting character for sure, because
He was.
what was his home up at the top there? Bird's
Bird's
eye,
Nest.
bird's
Eagle's
nest.
Nest.
Yeah,
Eagle's Nest.
the Eagle's Nest.
Yeah.
We did a Kappa event, and
Mm.
we part of the event was actually going up there, and got to meet him.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was very cool. It was very cool to see the inside of his house.
Yeah.
Like that was insane.
They
It
used
was beautiful.
they used to do when they did the Waterton Wildflower Festival, because that's when I
Mhm.
did the walk with them. They used to do tea up there, but
Oh, okay.
it sold out almost instantly as soon as it went up. It would
Yeah.
sell out.
Oh, for sure, for
Yeah.
sure. No, I remember the Wildlife and the Wildflower Festival
Yeah.
down in Waterton, you know?
Yep.
It's too bad they lost funding for that because
Yeah.
it was a really great event. Yeah, for
I
sure.
think honestly, if you could get people together to push it now and go after the
Mm.
funding now, I honestly think you probably could.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Because once again, Waterton is more known of than it was at that time. It was still quiet in the
Mhm.
parks. Like
Mhm.
you could go in the summer, and unless you were trying to get right to Red Rock,
Mhm.
there was space. You could get up to Cameron Lake and park and walk along the edge of the lake, and the parking lot was never full.
Yeah.
But this is going
Mhm.
back like 10, 12 years, right? So
Oh, yeah.
different
Yeah.
situation.
It's been a while since they had that festival for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
So Tracey, right now, so what's your biggest challenge in life, and I guess with photography? Obviously, they go hand in hand. But before we start wrapping things up, I'm just kind of curious. You have. It sounds like you're starting. You had the business meeting with
Mhm.
yourself. So
Staff meeting.
let's say,
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right.
or
Staff meeting.
the staff meeting. So it sounds like that's going to be taken off for you next year. It sounds like you have your mentorship program that's going to be happening for next year. What else are you finding that might be challenging for you right now that you're just going to push through and get her done?
So this summer, one of the biggest challenges right now that I am
Mhm.
frustrated about is the mobility.
Mhm.
Um,
Sure.
like I'm not as young as I once was, and it takes a lot longer to heal and to
Mhm.
come back from something where you're injured. And I don't want to do anything to mess that up right now.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
I'm very conscious of where I'm stepping and what I'm doing, and um, I don't want to carry a big heavy pack with me when I go out
Mhm.
because that's
Mhm.
more weight going down on my foot and stuff like that. So I want to be able to still keep working on the projects that I have going,
Mhm.
um, to start some that I've thought about or continue on them. And I find with a lot of my projects, they take years, but for
Oh,
some of them
okay.
that's a good reason. I have a series of deer faces that I only shoot in winter. So,
Mhm.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
you can only do it during the winter, but then you can work on it and curate your images and edit them and stuff in the downtime. So I want to continue to do those, to continue to show my work in galleries,
Mhm.
um, to put these series of images together. Um, I'm currently working on a book with another creative who had reached out to me, and it will be a series of poems and images that will be
Great.
created to go with the poems.
Nice.
So I've got those
Wow.
all
Sounds like an
printed and in my
amazing
backpack.
project.
Yeah. Yeah. And that
Oh,
was
very cool.
Wow.
somebody I ran into in Lake O'Hare, and we
Mhm.
started chatting on the trail.
Isn't
And
that
it,
Isn't
awesome?
that how that works? That's
yeah.
funny. Yeah.
Yeah. And it turns out that
Wow.
she lived 20 minutes down the road from me and graduated a year before me.
No
You're
way.
kidding.
Yeah. From the
Wow.
same high school.
Oh my
Oh
God.
my
And you have
goodness.
to go to Lake O'Hare to meet, right?
Yeah. Yeah. But
That's
that was a
incredible.
really good connection there. Um,
Mhm.
I'm going to keep working on the mindful lens retreats and see if I
Mhm.
can create. I'd like to do more than one a year, but
Mhm.
I don't want to, at the same time, I don't want it to become uncomfortable and not fun. I want to be
Mhm.
enjoying
Yeah.
what I'm creating and excited and happy about it.
Mhm.
Oh, absolutely. For
Yeah.
sure.
I'd like to do more writing, um,
Okay.
to put some words together with my images. I've got chapter 3 of Through the Mist that I want to have completed, printed, ready to pitch,
Mhm.
to go somewhere in the fall of this year.
Mhm.
Nice.
And I joked with Shane after Light Chasers this year, and I told him, I said, I'm going to hit you up in a couple of years to speak again when I have the 4th chapter done, and I want to
Mhm.
be on the black book table.
The
Nice.
black book.
Nice.
I
Perfect.
want a book on the black book table. So those are
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
long-term goals.
That's pretty
Excellent.
funny. You're right.
Yeah.
They were all black, actually.
Except for Rachel's, but hers was like massive. So
Yes, yes, that's right.
Mhm.
beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, you bet.
But yeah,
Wow, that's awesome.
lots of things.
And you have the magazine as well.
Yes, the Canadian Camera magazine put out by Kappa. So
Mhm.
that'll come out the fall issue with intimate details in nature.
Mhm.
Nice.
And I'm looking forward to that. And
Excellent.
who knows? There's probably some other things that I'm forgetting, but can't
Sounds
spill
like
all
a
the
lot.
beans. Can't
That's
spill all the
okay.
beans.
Yeah, no,
No.
it sounds like you got an amazing year coming, and it sounds like you got a lot of really cool projects and business ideas and everything moving forward. So, sounds like your plate's full, and that's a good thing.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah. Heart's
Lots
full.
of positives, right?
Yeah, my
Yeah.
heart's full right now, so that's good.
That's good. That's awesome.
Awesome.
Tracey, so any last words or thoughts you'd like to share? General thoughts, maybe for somebody that's just maybe getting started in nature photography, maybe somebody that might be struggling. Anything you'd love to share before we wrap things up here.
So I think a couple things. So first of
Mhm.
all, if you're struggling with physical issues, mental health, whatever it is, find someone that you can talk to. Find someone who listens and is there for you. And that doesn't matter if it's online or in person or whatever it is. There's somebody who will always be willing to listen to you.
Mhm.
And physically to advocate for yourself. Don't
Mhm.
be satisfied with being told one thing when there might be a better option out there.
Oh,
Um,
couldn't agree more.
Great advice.
And just to speak up for yourself, I guess, on both terms. If you're just getting into photography and your biggest advice I can give to you, don't compare your work to others. You're individual. Your work is individual, right?
That's perfect. Yeah.
It doesn't matter what somebody else is creating. It doesn't matter if you think somebody else's work is better than yours. Is your work better than it was yesterday?
Exactly.
If it is, then you're growing, you're learning, and it's kind of the same thing, to find those supportive groups of people who will help you grow and learn and be able to ask questions and not feel like you're dumb, right? And not achieving anything. And it doesn't matter if it's your phone or your camera or what it is, just look at the world around you, and there's beauty there all over the place. We just have to open our eyes and see it.
Awesome.
Awesome
That's
advice.
so good.
Yeah.
I really. Oh,
one final
okay.
thing. Sorry.
You
Be an
betcha.
organ donor. Be an organ donor, because it will truly change someone's life.
Yes. Yes. And you're a living testament to that. Absolutely.
Did it without crying.
Good job.
Oh,
Chris will edit some tears in there somewhere, I'm sure, with his video skills, put that in there.
Yeah.
No, thanks so much, Tracey.
Thank
awesome
you guys.
advice.
Yeah, you have an amazing story, and you're an amazing person. So thanks for coming on. So
thank you.
Yeah, you betcha. And I'm sure there'll be a round 2 there. So
that's good.
I appreciate the fact, though, that your idea of with photography, not to take away from anything else, but the whole comparing your work to others. I still do that. And I think a lot of creatives still do that. I'm always, comparing my stuff to Chris, and I just know I'm that much better. So it's just when
you are.
You knew that was coming, Chris.
I knew it was coming. I knew where he was going. I was waiting for it.
And I think everybody does. Like, I honestly think everybody compares their stuff. And until you can, if you take a picture and you're really happy about it, just you're happy. Don't let that feeling go away, because so many people do. They put it up. One of the best things, and I can't remember where I heard this in the last little while, but it said you put a picture up on social media and you only get 15 likes and you're upset. Think how wonderful it would be if 15 people came up to you in a day and told you what a great job you did with something. How would you feel?
Exactly.
That's awesome. Yep.
Exactly.
You're
Another
right.
cool piece. Yeah. Really good piece of advice. Yeah, all joking aside, it was a great comment because, like I said, I still do it, and at times I even struggle to post a photo because I don't think it's good enough. And I think most creatives go through that at
Yeah.
some point. Maybe not all the time, but at some point in their career, they're just you just don't think you're producing good quality work, and you start seeing, I mean, the work I see online is absolutely stunning, and I'm like, wow, and I'm like,
And then you
oh,
have to go, is it AI?
yeah, no
Right.
kidding, you're almost to that point right now,
Yeah.
right?
And there's some
Yeah.
things that it's so good that it's like,
Mhm.
is it a compliment if you tell somebody, I thought that was AI?
Oh yeah, it becomes a
You know what?
compliment now.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Isn't
Yeah.
that the truth? Because I said
Never
that to
thought of it like that.
somebody. I'm trying to think who I
Yeah.
said it. I said, and I made that as a compliment, but at the same time, it's like, wow, am I
Mhm.
giving kudos to
Maybe it
AI
wasn't.
also? You know what I mean? Like I'm just
Yeah.
Right.
kind of a
Yeah.
double-edged sword there, but
It's only going to get better. So,
Yeah.
it
yeah.
is. I mean,
Yeah.
that's a whole other
No, I find
podcast
they're
if you
almost,
really think about it. Yeah.
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
There has to be that story to go with the image. I think sometimes
Yeah.
now, like just
hmm
posting a pretty image isn't enough.
hmm hmm
Like people
Exactly.
still like it and everything, but if there's a story to go with that image, it makes it that much better.
Well, you know yourself, Tracy, when you sell, if when you're selling a photo at a market and you have
Oh
the
yeah.
opportunity to talk to somebody about it,
Yeah.
they'll buy it based on the story.
They can
Yeah.
connect to it for sure.
That-
Oh,
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That sheep one, I used to joke because people would say to me, how did you get that shot? And I'd be like, for $500, I will tell you.
Yeah, there you go. I got to use that next time. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah.
But
See that
that-
price?
That image is one of those that has a whole story that goes with it.
Yeah,
And with the story, it becomes that much better.
that's right.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
they've got something that they can tell too, right?
Yeah.
So it's perfect.
sure.
But
Yeah.
well, Tracy, we're going to wrap things up. Thanks
All
so
right,
much for
thank you,
coming
guys.
on.
you,
Yeah,
Tracy.
it was awesome having you on, listening to your story. Like I said, Light Chasers was your presentation was phenomenal, and we're so happy to finally have you on. So
Thank you.
thanks again. Thanks everybody for watching, and we will catch you guys on the next episode of the Nature Photo Guys podcast.
Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching. Before we wrap up, we'd like to thank the Camera Store for supporting the Nature Photo Guys podcast.
They're a legendary name in photography, and their support helps us keep bringing you these episodes.
Don't forget to check them out at thecamerastore.com for all your photography and video needs.
Thanks for joining us on the Nature Photo Guys podcast. If you have any questions, contact us at info@thenaturePhotoGuys.ca or message us on Facebook and Instagram at the Nature Photo Guys podcast. Visit YouTube and subscribe to our channel to watch all our latest videos. Or follow and listen to our latest podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or on our website at thenaturePhotoGuys.ca. We'll catch you next time on the Nature Photo Guys podcast.